Welcome to Reading with Renee. Today's story is Hugo Sprouts and the Strange Case of the Beans, written by Loren. I bet you've heard stories or read adventures of wily young whiz kids or expert inventors. Well, this one's a whopper. You see, there's no doubt the cleverest ever was Hugo P. Sprouts. Why, nothing could rival his powerful passion to think up and tinker astounding contraptions, like the self-timing Toastbot, or the Flapjack-O-Matic, the bubblegum jetpack, remote control haddock, invisible ointment, unmeltable ice, and the latest, his canine translation device. This is Euless, his pet wiener hound, who's quiet and thoughtful and close to the ground. But despite all the theorems and figures he'd cracked, one problem still lingered. A big one, in fact. See, with 7 assorted Sprout sisters and brothers, young Hugo was smaller than all of the others. The older Sprouts kids, who were taller and thicker, always got picked to play kickball much quicker.
He's simply too shrimpy,
the pickers would snicker.
This kid and his pup are just pitiful kickers.
Trudging back home with his barely kicked ball, sighed Hugo.
I'm tired of being too small. Too young for the movies. Too short for the rides. My bedtime is early. My cones are kid-sized. Things would be better,
he wondered aloud,
if I could be bigger, I figure. But how?
Try this,
said his pop, with his mustache a-quiver.
Eat up your lima beans, choke down some liver. Just gulp these garbanzos and slurp some soy slop. And that's how you grow big and strong, like your pup.
They dripped with gross gravy that made Hugo flinch, but he gulped down a bean and grew not 1 inch.
That does it,
he grumbled.
These beans are too slow. Let's fix up a quicker solution to grow. Off to the lab now, Euless, and hurry!
Euless said nothing, but looked a bit worried. Plop went the beans in a shimmering stew, and they cooked up a cauldron of gooey green brew. They toiled and troubled till 2 without stopping. At last, they had boiled the perfect concoction.
Eureka!
Cried Hugo, and threw back his head. He poured down some potion and skipped off to bed. The very next day, when they gathered for chow, the Sprouts' little kitchen seemed smaller somehow.
How splendid!
Said Hugo.
You know what that means? My potion's more potent than boring old beans. Come on, Euless. This growing thing's easy.
Euless stayed quiet, but looked a bit queasy. He rode the puke looper and spinny go twist. He conquered the kickball game 50-6. The kids were defiant.
No way. That's unfair. You're pretty much giant. We hadn't a prayer.
Hey, wait!
Hugo quipped,
Pretty much just won't do.
and he sipped up a drip of his potion and grew.
Much better.
Ha ha ha! He laughed as he gobbled up sweets. Then caught the new movie and 62 seats. The usher was flustered.
Get down, you big goof. You're nearly so huge you could bust through the roof.
Nearly?
Sneered Hugo.
Why, that just won't do.
And he swallowed up a slurp of his potion. And grew! The mayor was deep in a tub full of bubbles when news was delivered by phone of the trouble.
The orchestra's flat.
The juice bar is splattered. My garden is squashed.
Our waffle shop's battered.
Great Scott! Cried the mayor. Gadzooks and good gravy! Send word to the army and get me the navy! I tell you, it's urgent. Come pronto! She gulped. A monster is stomping our city to pulp!
Hey, you there!
She hollered.
Enough with this caper! You're almost as tall as the tallest skyscraper!
Almost?
Roared Hugo.
That simply won't do!
And he lifted the last drop of potion and...
Stop!
Ulysses, perched high on a swaying Sprouts tower, had piped up at last, and, with all his small power, he cried through the clouds with a face sad and somber.
Please stop. That's enough. We can take it no longer.
Bah!
Hugo boomed, and his gruesome teeth glistened.
But now I'm the biggest, so why should I listen?
Because
Barked Ulysses.
it's you most of all who knows what it's like being stepped on in small. Today, you're the tallest. That much may be true. But yesterday you were the one in our shoes. So Hugo, despite your new height and your heft, you've proved you've got plenty of growing up left.
With that, he walked off in a huff and a snort, and Hugo stood silent, without a retort. And as he considered the things that he'd done, he felt a bit smaller with each passing one. So he set straight to work with some help from the Sproutses and fixed all the dents in the shops and the houses. He polished and prodded, he mended and dusted, and buffed all the scuffs off the stuff he had busted. At very long last, the whole town was restored, and Hugo was finally kid size once more. That night, the whole city dropped in for a feast of Pop's 3-bean salad with liver and beets.
Now, Hugo,
Pop cautioned.
I really insist you never repeat a fiasco like this.
No, never.
Swore Hugo.
I promise you, Dad. I'm through with that potion, and the beans aren't so bad.
But where
Pondered Pop.
has that last drop got to?
That's funny.
said Hugo.
I haven't a clue.
Who ended up with the last drop of potion? Thanks for reading with me today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and check out my channel for some other stories. And until next time, this is Reading with Renee.